Hello, 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 hello.
Hello, sir.
Let's have a start to the session. So yesterday we are discussing about the static variable. Yesterday we are discussing about the static variable, what is static variable is and what are they. So now we are going to discuss what is static and why we are using static and what is the advantages of that. So in my previous example, I'll show you my example is there. Let us assume yesterday day before yesterday we are creating one circle class. In that class there are one integer variable is there and circle we are creating two constructor objects. Those constructor are there, that is no argument constructor, and one parameterized constructor is there. We are also creating two getters and setters, and I'm removing till now it is comparable comparator and ticket. Now and we have a one example main is continuing. Now I am going to create one more class. The class name is आवाज आ रही है? हेलो,
यस सर,
आवाज आ रही है ना?
यस सर,
ठीक है, ओके, थैंक यू. So I'm going to create another class which is showing the phenomena of circle. So I'm going to create a class. Let's say circle demo, and this circle demo is containing main method. So I'm clicking on that. So what is error here? It is showing. No comparable is there. So we have a one circle class. In that class there are one radius r is there, and it is having two constructors, one getter and one setter method is there. What is this? We are discussing this further, but today's session we are going to discuss the static. And someone is asking, I am saying that the static variables is load time. At load time the memory of that static variable is created. So what is the static variable? What is the load time? We are going to discuss. First of all, we have to discuss about what is process and program. Is anybody is there who can tell me what is process and what is program? So,
sir, a program is a set of instructions. और सर दूसरा आपने क्या पूछा था?
प्रोग्राम और प्रोसेस में क्या डिफरेंस है? What is program? What is process?
Sir, program a set of instructions is called a program.
And process?
And also process.
A process is nothing but a single thread. A program contains many processes.
अच्छा, और कोई बताएगा कुछ?
Program in execution is nothing but a process.
Good. What is your name?
Nihal.
So the process is, let's say I have an analogy. Let's say today is a birthday. So I am making a plan. Tomorrow you should have to do like this. Someone is going there in the market to buy some essential things which is going to use in my party. So जो कुछ भी हम आज लिख रहे हैं, whatever we are planning today, that is called program. वो उस समय execute नहीं हो रहा, that is not executed at that time. And what is process? When that all the instructions are executed, that is called process. The basic difference between program and process, the program, we are programming something, this should be happen when the execution takes place. So what we are doing in our code, let's say we are writing a set of instruction in my code, this source code, what is this? This is a set of instruction which followed by my JVM. When we are executing that particular program. So this program is nothing but it is stored where it is stored, where the set of instruction is stored, where the bytecode is stored. That bytecode is stored somewhere in the memory. And which memory? The hard disk. So this is the diagram which is depicted that way. So check it out. So what is in that program? The program, there is a secondary memory we have a main memory. What is main memory? Main memory is nothing but a RAM. Whatever we are creating, whatever the source code is there, that is stored inside the secondary memory. That is the basic concept of operating system. And when that process is in execution, that process, that program comes from here to here. Because everything is executed in main memory. It is a similar example when we have a almirah in my room और मुझे कुछ पढ़ना है तो मैं वहां से बुक उठाकर अपनी मेज पर रख देता हूँ. तो क्यों ऐसा करते हैं हम वहां जाकर नहीं, क्योंकि हमें उसमें टाइम लगेगा. To access that memory, to access the secondary memory, it takes time. That's why we are, हम जितने भी प्रोग्राम हैं उनको हम कहाँ एग्जीक्यूट करते हैं? Execution always takes place in the main memory.
Main memory.
So what is the difference between program and process? What is the difference between program and process? The basic difference of program and process. Program is a passive entity which is not in execution. Program is a passive entity which is not in execution. Whereas the process is an active entity. So program is passive because it is just stored in my program. Let's say VLC media player. Let's say any of the Eclipse ID is there. All the things are the program. First time जब आप VLC media player या कोई भी ऐसी चीज को execute करते हो, means double click करते हो, तो वो कहाँ से कहाँ आएगा? That is loaded from secondary memory to primary memory. That is your main memory. तो पहली बार जब आप VLC मीडिया प्लेयर चलाते हैं तो उसमें टाइम लगता है. मैं आपको दिखाता हूँ इसका एग्जांपल. लेट्स से आई हैव अ VLC मीडिया प्लेयर एंड आई वांट टू, मैंने पीडीएफ बहुत देर से नहीं खोला, so I am clicking on this PDF and it is taking some time to execute it. So what it is doing currently right now, it is coming from secondary memory. This program is running, is coming from secondary loading. That thing is from secondary memory to primary memory. But in the second time, if I am going to access that thing, it is in instant it is open. Why? Because the process is active now. So that is the all the concept residing in the operating system concept. So program is a set of instructions which is stored in hard disk, stored in secondary memory, stored in secondary memory. When the program is executed, this is known as process. Required resources, it is in disk, then it is required a memory, and it is the input output takes place disk. क्योंकि जब execution होता है तब process को resources की जरूरत होती है. मैं अभी प्लान बना रहा हूं कि कल मैं जाकर क्लास लूंगा, मैं ऐसे जाकर कोर्स में, मैं ऐसा जाकर जॉब करूंगा जाकर, तो अभी तो प्लान बना रहे हैं ना, प्लान तो कुछ भी बना लो. But when you are going in execution, it takes our resources. तब आपको जॉब भी चाहिए, तब आपको अपना सिस्टम चाहिए एग्जीक्यूट करने के लिए, बहुत सारे रिसोर्सेज की जरूरत पड़ती है. तो प्रोसेस को रिसोर्सेज की जरूरत पड़ती है एग्जीक्यूट करने के लिए, प्रोग्राम को रिसोर्सेज की जरूरत नहीं पड़ती. So that is the basic difference. So then what is the load time actually? What is the load time? The load time is nothing but a process is loaded from, program is loaded from secondary memory to main memory. That is called loading time. That is called loading time. That is called a loading time. Coming to the next topic, this is the basic difference between program and process. This is the basic difference between program and process. Now, coming to the topic of that is a static variable. So what is a static variable? अच्छा, जब program process बनता है तो उसको कुछ ना कुछ मेमोरी मिलती हो मेन मेमोरी में. वो कैसा दिखता है? मैंने आप लोगों से बोला था कि मेमोरी लेआउट पढ़ के आना है. तो देखते हैं मेमोरी लेआउट क्या होती है. So memory layout seems like this something. When the program becomes process, this type of memory is created. Check it out the 30 second, give this 30 seconds and see. There is a lots of sections are there created in this when the program becomes process. There is a text section, there is an initialized data section, there is a uninitialized data section, heap section, and stack section is there. Heap and stack is global nature. And whatever you are passing from the command line, it is have a separate. तो जब भी प्रोग्राम प्रोसेस बनता है तो कुछ इस तरीके का दिखता है. टेक्स्ट सेक्शन में आपका जो ये बाइट कोड होता है .exe फाइल जो एग्जीक्यूट होगी वो यहां रहता है. हीप में कोई भी आप जो नया ऑब्जेक्ट बनाते हो न्यू के थ्रू, यू आर क्रिएटिंग न्यू क्लास नेम. जो भी आप डायनेमिक ऑब्जेक्ट क्रिएट करते हैं वो हीप में क्रिएट होता है. एंड व्हाटएवर यू आर क्रिएटिंग, let's say int I, int A, primitive data type, that is created inside stack. So that is a memory layout. Description is after that. You have to learn it. तो जब प्रोग्राम प्रोसेस बनता है तो कुछ इस तरीके की मेमोरी उसको रैम में मिलती है. जेवीएम भी बेटा एक तरीके का प्रोसेस ही है. लेट्स से पहले कोई भी चीज एग्जीक्यूट होती थी वो डायरेक्ट ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम पर एग्जीक्यूट होता था. लेकिन अब क्या है, वो पहले जब भी तुम कोई जावा कोड चलाओगे तो उससे पहले एक एग्जीक्यूशन होगा जो जेवीएम एक प्रोसेस है जिस जो तुम्हारे कोड को कंट्रोल करेगा. दैट इज कॉल्ड जेवीएम. लेट्स से इन एनी कंपनी some outlet is there, तो उसका एक head होता है. That head is whole soul responsible to executing whatever happen in that particular area. Let's say collector, let's say DM is there which is controlling all the resources in the particular jurisdiction. उस jurisdiction के अंदर जो कुछ भी होगा उसका जिम्मेदार वो DM है. And in that there are lots of processes are executed. आप लोगों में से बहुत से लोगों ने कोर्सेज ज्वाइन कर रखे हैं तो उस कोर्स का कोई हेड है. And that head is whole soul responsible for creating all the classes. and उसके अंदर भी अलग अलग प्रोसेस हैं जो छोटे छोटे प्रोसेस हैं. आपका कोई जावा का फैकल्टी होगा, कोई सी प्लस प्लस का फैकल्टी होगा, लेकिन उनको कब रूम अवेलेबल हो रहा है, कब वो शेड्यूल होगा, वो सब कुछ उसके वही डिसाइड करता है. So under the JVM control your Java code executes. Is it clear? I think so. So coming to the next topic, so that is how the program becomes process and how it is look alike. I'm showing you that example. Now back to our example. Let's say we have a one class called circle and we have another class called main. Main is a class in which we are going to execute our circle object. Now what happened internally? Internally, what happened is there. Let us assume I am creating that. Let's say in this class I am creating one instance variable. So how many types of variables are there? First of all, so If we are not declaring any variable as static, then and that scope of that particular means the scope of this R is a class scope. So this object is called instance variable, or you can say it is also called member variable. Member variable. And whatever is declared inside a method, let's say I'm going to create one variable inside this block, let's say X or S or anything else. So what is this S? This S is a local variable. The method, the variable declared inside block or method is known as local variable. Local variable. Because when the scope is over, this variable is deallocated. It is same as, let's say आपके घर में कोई बर्थडे पार्टी है, तो आपके यहाँ थोड़ी देर के लिए वो हलवाई आता है खाना बनाने, उसको आप लोग स्पेस देते हो, मेमोरी देते हो, जो कुछ भी उसको चाहिए वो देते हो, बट कुछ चीजें वो अपने साथ भी लाता है. जब उसका काम खत्म होता है तो वो उन चीजों को वापस से हटा देता है और वो जगह को खाली कर देता है. That has to release that memory which is occupied by that particular person. So what is local variable? A local variable is declared inside a method or block. What is instance variable? The variable which is declared inside the scope of class and which is not static in nature. And the third type of variable is there, that is called class variable. So what is class variable and what is instance variable? What is the difference between the class variable and instance variable? Class variable is a variable which is declared as static. And only one copy of that is created, and that is shared by all the objects of that class. Is it clear? So I'm going to show you the example of that. It is an analogy. There is a one object A is there. Let us assume there is a one object A is there and object B is there. So only one variable of that particular is created. Only one variable is created. That is static variable. And the variable which is not declared as a static is always created inside the scope of the object. So when that memory is created at load time, when that memory is created at load, and load time अब आपको पता है, जब भी ये प्रोग्राम एग्जीक्यूट होगा और प्रोग्राम मेमोरी से लोड हो रहा होगा रैम के लिए, उसको लोड टाइम बोलते हैं. मतलब स्टैटिक वेरिएबल को, स्टैटिक मेंबर्स को क्रिएट करने के लिए, उनको मेमोरी ऑक्युपाई करने के लिए ऑब्जेक्ट का क्रिएट होना जरूरी नहीं है. It is already created. Now in our example what happened is there, So when our object is created, let's suppose circle is created, then what happens? One object is created. Let us assume another object is created. Inside, let's suppose one R is here, one R is, because this is an instance variable and it is created for all the objects. जितने भी ऑब्जेक्ट बनेंगे सबके पास एक अपना R होगा. And if I am going to create circle C1 is this, and if I am saying a circle C2 is this, and all the methods are also there. I'm not writing till here, but all the objects are also there. Let's say constructors are there, getter and get set is there. Same as here, get set is there. Two methods are also there. But where that static memory is created, as shown in the memory layout, check it out. Memory layout, check it out. This is the section. Static is missing from here. This is the section here. One static memory is created. And static memory is created. Yes. No, both are same. Instance. This is the. We can say this is the instance of circle, or you can say this is the object of that circle. We are saying that this R is an instance variable. मतलब उस instance का ये variable है. इस instance का ये variable है. But this is static. But this is static. What is the static variable we have? That static variable we have is static variable. See, this is static variable has its own memory. Static variable. Let's say this is a static variable. That is a static variable. The static variable gets outside the. It is not a part of the object. It is not a part of the object. It is not a part of the object. Only one copy of that static variable is created, and it is initialized by its default value. What is the default value actually? Because my variable is of type integer, so its default value is 0. If some class is having a string type static variable, then that default value is null. If someone is having a static variable as float type, then its default value is 0.0. And both the objects are going to share this object. Both the variables are going to share this particular object. Means, let's say there is a society. In that society, the builder is making the builder with the same type. Every flat has the same dimensions. But there is a park which is shared by all the society members. Such type of phenomena is achieved here. But that the park is accessible. It depends. It is accessible for outside also or not. That is defined by access specifier. I can declare that a static variable as private or public. But the class member can access that particular variable and that particular method. We can declare method as well. Now I'm going to show you how the static variable. So what are the static definition is there? Methods declared as static have several restrictions. We can also declare method as a static. In our example, we are defining the method main as a static is declared. See, main is a static method. So method can also defined as a static. Then it is called as class method. What is the scope of that method is class method. They can only call other static methods. They can only call other static. We can come out this point again. They can call only static methods. They must only access static data. And they cannot refer this or super. We can discuss this further. Comment it. I'm going to comment it, but this can different again. So static data member and functions. Data member is preceded with static keyword in the class. In our example, check it out. In our example, see, my variable, static variable, is declared as static. Creates only one copy of that particular stack. So sorry, variable. See, in our example, we are creating only one object, one variable of that particular variable, which is declared as static. We can also say that this is a class variable. This is a class variable. Only one copy for whole class is created. And one thing is more, shared by all the objects. Shared by all the objects. Shared by all the objects of that particular class only. Or the child class can also access that static variable. We can discuss when we are go through the inheritance again. One more restriction is there. What is that? Initialized by 0 when the first object is created. It is not initialized by 0. It is initialized by default value. Initialized by default value. Visible only in class, but its lifetime entire the program. What is the saying that lifetime is entire the program? Static variable कब create हो रहा है? जब program execute होने के लिए start होने जा रहा है, जब program process बन रहा है, तो उसकी memory कब deallocate होगी? जब वो program उस main memory से हटेगा. When it is removed from the main memory, then the static variable is also deallocated. That's why we can say that the lifetime of this program is throughout the program. Static function. So now I'm going to make that, and how we are going to use that for static variable, we can discuss it. So what is static function? We can also have a static functions. Means I can create in my class, I can create one static function also. Let us assume I'm going to create one function. That function name is public int count number of object. Is it a class method or it is a normal method? Yes. So what we have to do? We have to declare it as static. So now it is a class variable. Sorry, class method. Yes. If I'm declaring a variable as a static, then what happens? Let's suppose I'm going to return it. Return static variable. Return static variable. Return static variable. What I am doing here, I am simply returning a static type variable. This static is put here. Static variable. And now I'm going to execute it. Now I want one program. I want that program. How many number of objects is created till now? How many types of object is created till now? So initially, Initially, when we are going to create the such type of object, it is returning how many number of objects are there. So who is going to increase that static variable? The static variable is increased by when the constructor is invoked. When the constructor is invoked, that is static variable is plus. And when any constructor is invoked, when the object is created, the constructor is invoked. That's why what I am doing, I am writing static plus plus in every variable. When this program is executed, and now I am going to create a circle object. Circle C is equal to new circle. Again, I am creating one more object. Circle C1 is equal to new circle. I am calling sys out. Circle dot static variable. One thing more, we can access static variable without creating an object. In the seventh line, can we create any object before that? No. But we can access static variable because static variable gets memory without creating an object. Now, one more point has to mention over here. We can access the static variable with their class name. See, every time what we are doing in our example, if I want to call this get method, then we have to call c2.get. If I want to access this r, I have to write c.r, because till the object is not created, these variables or method not gets memory. But before creating an object, this static variable is created. So we can access this static variable by the class name as well without creating an object. We can access a static variable with their class name or by reference variable. What is reference variable? We discussed that thing. The C is a reference variable. The C is a reference variable, which is holding an object, a reference of this object. Likewise, the C1 is also a reference variable, which is going to hold the object of that particular class. Now, in my code, what happened? When the code is executed, in the very first line, it is printing the value of a static variable. As we discussed, the static variable gets its default value initially. So in our scenario, what is the default value of our static variable is 0. So what value is printed here? That value is printed here 0. But if the second statement is executed, one object is created, and if the third object is created, one object is created. As you know, at a time only the constructor is invoked when the object is created. Which type of constructor is invoked here? The no argument constructor is invoked here. No argument constructor invoked. No argument constructor invoked. In the very next line, parameterized constructor is invoked. Parameterized constructor is invoked. Now after that, what we have to do? System sysout, and again the same line, circle dot static value. Then what value is printed? When the constructors are invoked, what happened here? It is also incrementing the value of that static variable. When the first constructor is invoked, the value becomes 0 to 1. And then when the second constructor is invoked, the value 0 to 1. That 0 to 1 means this static variable becomes 1. When the object of C1 is created, the constructor is invoked, it is incremented that value. When the second object is created, that 1 becomes 2. And which is shared by all the objects. If I am going to print that particular object, then that particular variable, the value is printed. That is 2. So what kind of program we are making? We are making such kind of program. Count the number of objects of that particular class is created. Now I'm going to execute it and run as Java. See, at the first time the 0 is printed. First time the 0 is printed means if I'm going to print some number of objects, till now. At that point of time again, now I'm going to execute. See, the number of objects when the first line is executed is 0. The number of objects when the second line is created is 2. So there is a misconception between the students. So some of you are saying earlier, it is making a constant value. No, it is not making a constant value. The value of the static variable can be changed, but that static variable can be shared by all the objects of that particular class. Someone is asking like that. क्या पूछ रहा है? Sir, where static memory is allocated? Sir, you are coming late, I think so. I discussed that thing. The static variable is created in the memory layout. You have to check it out. Again, you go through that concept. So we can also apply the public and private access specifier here. I am going to make that variable as private. If I am declaring any variable as private, that cannot be accessed outside the class. See, in my example, what happened here? The error comes here. Why? Because we are directly accessing the static variable, which is now private. Then what should we have to do? We have to circle dot call the value count objects. The count object is doing what? Count objects is returning the value of a static variable. Check it out. Run as Java application. The output is same again, but this time the value is coming from the method which is static and public in nature. It is static and public in nature. We continue to the next session. There is a last minute is going on. I am sending you again link. Till then, thank you. After 10 minutes, I am sending you the link. Thank you all.